the various capacities. We have donor agencies, we have service providers, we have professionals of different kinds, we have persons with disabilities, we have researchers, we name it. I would like us to have real functional networks. You may not appreciate it today, but trust me, everybody will have a smile when you have a functional network. As I said yesterday, many of you got to know about this conference because somehow God led me into your path, and I started making a lot of noise about this event. And I kept on telling them, if I'm not organizing the global, I'll organize the African. But somehow we're having a conference in Uganda. I benefited from your networks, and I believe you can also benefit from the network. Having said that, can I have the presentation, please? It's going to be brief, don't worry. Super brief. CAN is an independent organization. It started as, it was first registered as a non-government organization here in Uganda. During these very difficult times, we also had some changes in some of our legal frameworks. And we found ourselves in a situation where we have to register CAN, and we registered it now as a continental organization. Initially, it was registered as a local organization because it has a small secretariat. Now we have registered it as a continental organization. And that comes with opportunities because, as I said, we can work from one side of the continent to the other and benefit from the network. The task I'm giving all of us is to make sure that we make it functional, so that even if I cross over tomorrow, you remember that this woman stood here and she said she wants a functional network. So what I want is a functional network across borders. I'm sorry, but that is what I think CAN needs at this point in time. Then we have information sharing using our websites, using Facebook, Twitter, and we have conferences out of which we always make publications. And again, been at the center of making the publications. This time we wrote the publication, but we didn't have money to really publish it well. And we did what we could, but it's a beautiful piece. Because we tried to put in a lot of our own experience into that book, based on what was shared at the conference. The challenge always experiences, and that is why this time I was very hard. I told whoever was presenting that, "Baby, give me your presentation or I'll put you off the program," and I was serious about that. Reason being that when you're coming here, you're anxious to come. After you presented, you go with everything. We write several emails and you never respond. And then they say we are failing to produce a result, and yet I can't produce a presentation out of the blue. I need to remain with the record. Am I communicating? Yes. So we had a session where you come, put in your flash disk, and after you pull it out and you come with everything. So this time we had to change, and I'm hoping, and I believe that we shall have the first writing of the book. You have your work published. Very well. Together we can. Then CAN has 3 strategic objectives. The first one is to develop a strong CBR information management and sharing capacity. It is supposed to be our core business. But like I said, we are simply reaching out, please share what you have, please share what you have. I'm tired of that story. It's wearing. I want us to really work together. When we work together, you've had the various presentations you have, and I hope you've also appreciated the kind of capacity you have in the continent. So kindly, let's work together. Let's use these as opportunities. let's take CAN forward. Then we have establishing a robust network for promoting effective CBR and disability inclusive development in Africa, and to strengthen CAN's organizational capacity. CAN does not have many funders. I'll start from the bottom. CAN started 23 years ago. At that time, CBR was under WHO. And as such, by default, WHO would support each of our conferences hugely. Then in 2019, we secured a competitive funding from Rehabilitation International, where we tried to maintain a relationship. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten many other opportunities for funding, but that is another one. So if you'd like to engage in research and hear of anything under Rehabilitation International, bring it to our attention. We shall compete together because we are registered members of the Rehabilitation International team. And that is why we have their keynote address. They believe and we know that we're a very strong entity because of the way we engage with them. So let's ride on that. Don't show them that you're weak, like I have said, but I needed to bring you your own lane so that you know what we are dealing with. As a program developer, if you want a good program, when I'm training, because I also do capacity development, in the field I always tell people that if you must make something good, you have to undress. Be ready and willing to undress. Remove the jewelry, remove the clothes, remove the shoes, take a clean shower. So I needed to make us take a clean shower in order for us to start a new page, which will take us to the next level. I don't wish, I do, and I want us to do. So I'll not hope, I'll not wish, I want us to do. That's why I started by giving you that background so that you know what you're dealing with and you get set to move at that pace and in that direction. Then we have NAT. We have a representative from NAT. NAT is our latest carer, and they really supported us. Hey, NAT, if we have NAT here, stand up for recognition. They might think you're a small entity, who they were people. And we do appreciate that and do not take it for granted. Then we have our mother. Samantha, kindly stand up. Let's stand up and give CB Trust the loudest. From the time we were born. CB Trust. Wow. Now you know what is happening. That is who we are. You didn't want. Sorry. And I told you, it has been wearing. So thank you, CB Trust, and kindly take our regards. Also take our regards to Professor Hartley. We don't take it for granted. Many Africans already say, you have carried us already, please continue carrying us. We want to be carried, yes, but you'd rather carry a carryable baby. In Africa, we have a weakness, and that is something I try to discourage. We want to be given. In my own capacity, I hate being given. I hate free things. I like working for it. And I would like CAN to try and work for that. Even when we are raising money for this, Some people did not know that we could do something. But I think you've now seen what we can do, and I believe next time you support us more. Some partners came yesterday and they were saying, I didn't know it was this big, we thought it was a small workshop. Because they didn't know that we would even make it. So I would like CB Trust not to just support us because we are the way we are, not to support us because you are our mother, not support us because you've done it for the past 23 years, but do it because we deserve it. And we should deserve it after we have taken a very beautiful shower. So that a good program, others can learn from this. If you want, that is why sometimes we get so pulled down. Let somebody support you for some time, but also think of how you're going to survive without them. It is a good practice. And I'm saying this as a woman, I'm saying this as an African, I'm saying this as a capacity developer. I believe in everybody becoming resilient. God needs to become. And I told you, I can't wish that for anyone, and I don't want to ever have that situation in Khan again, because I don't wish it for anyone. We've had a number of activities. I'm not going to complete the whole list. We had a conference in 2018. It was the biggest one. The challenges I've already mentioned. In 2019, we had some writing skills workshops, like I explained earlier. We finished our conference. We worked on our conference book because we didn't finish it, but we started working on it. COVID hit us, and it hit us hard. And that is when we woke up to the situation that we are totally empty. But somehow we had two options. Close the office. I was on the verge of closing the office, but like I said, I can't fall. So I chose to continue carrying the baby. And I'm glad that it has come this far. I'm proud of it. Whether you recognize it or not, I don't care, but I'm proud that I carried the baby to this place. When we were on the verge of being, but before we switch to continental, my colleagues felt it was the end of the road. I made many journeys with Alice. And at some point she thought it was totally gone. But I kept on telling her that we have to continue. Even if it means investing my own money, it has to continue. I don't wish that for anyone. I don't wish it for anyone. So we have to really work hard and make sure that we never, ever, not even in a dream, go back to that. We also had a study, as I mentioned earlier, with Rehabilitation International. It was a study on CBR, CBID, the transition. Then we had to rest because we had no money. And at that time I was organizing the global event. The global team, I kept on assuring them that we are very, very strong, although I knew what I was going through. But I couldn't tell anyone. We needed to continue until whatever came and happened, until the conference was changed. And we were on the verge of cancelling this conference as well. But I needed us to meet. And the reason I needed us to meet, when we are talking online, I mean or not online. Sometimes you log in, I know you're there, I get you're not there. So this time, I wanted to look you straight in the face and tell you what CAN is, what CAN is going through. So that together, we make a total transformation. Then up there we have the treasurer's reports. We used to have big monies A time came when we barely had money. But somehow we've been able to survive. We persevered, and I'm glad we've come this far. In the interest of time, the main message I have to deliver, and I'm sure my chair is not happy, and I'm sure even someone is saying, this woman, how can she address in public? You're the owners of the organization, and you need to know your truth. And as a person, those who know me, I tell you, you deal with it, or you go to hell. Have a nice day.
Because everything just came together. The government wanted to close the organization, but it was salvaged and registered as an international organization. So here we are. This beginning is going up here only. We're not going downwards because of the changes we have made to the Constitution. The old Constitution, we got people on board, but for some it was excitement, because those days we had money for EC meetings. So, traveling to Uganda, to Kenya, wherever the EC meeting is going to be was quite exciting. But this time, the EC members have to come to give to CAN. CAN has nothing to give you. You just have to look after it like a parent. So we are going to read the changes in the Constitution. They are not many, but they are critical if CAN is to move forward. I'm not going to the detail. Carol has already described that. However, we have struggled a lot to deliver on our plan. One of the main factors which has already been discussed is the Constitution. So our Constitution, we did not have a sufficient number of board members. There were struggles with communication, and also this also led to very tight fundraising. We have to adjust our Constitution or perish, because the world has really changed a lot. COVID was like a turning point for the whole globe, and if CAN does not change, then CAN will perish. So what we are proposing here is to strengthening CAN's governing body, so that we have the potential to enable CAN to attract funding, and also to be able to do projects of our own. So to achieve this, we are asking you, the General Assembly, to consider the following changes to our Constitution.
All right. So, I'll be reading through the proposed changes. It was explained that those of you who are new and may not have looked at the Constitution, there was some copies made available as announced in the morning. So hopefully that was done. So the preamble now, the change recommended on the preamble is that the preamble be updated to include reference to the CBR guidelines, and also that we delete out any outdated information. On the definitions and interpretations, there was also an update on that to reflect modern definitions and descriptions regarding our work in CBR CBID. Going by article, when you look at Article 3, the change recommended, the rationale behind our reasons is that this would contribute to minimizing overhead costs, as Carol already alluded to earlier. CAN no longer has its own office space, but is currently housed at the Norwegian Association of Disabled office in Kampala. So the recommendation is that CAN's registered address reverts to Chambogo University as its long-term permanent address. Under Article 4, the CAN's values, mission, vision, and objectives. There's been an amendment on this to include what has been reflected in the strategic plan. So we have the revised strategic plan, and therefore the inclusion of those new narratives around the values, vision, and mission and objectives being included. Under Article 5, it is recommended that CAN's membership categories be simplified, as different categories within the previous constitution were unnecessarily complex. Did you want to explain this one?
Can I just explain that? We had various memberships. There were honorary members, associate members, ordinary members. All these were memberships that were not utilized at all and were redundant. So that is one of the changes we have done.
Thank you, Dr. Ngama, for that explanation. Under Article 6, the organizational structure section has been modified to include reference to the International Advisory Board. Would you like to say something? She will explain later. She'll come back to that. The difference between that and the previous name. Under Article 7, responsibilities of the General Assembly to elect the CAN board members has been removed. Procedures of the General Assembly have been simplified to combine the reports presented. That will be explained. Article 8, the responsibilities section has been updated to provide more detail for the chairpersons and treasurers' roles, and the detail on how it is proposed to appoint the International Advisory Board members. That will be explained. Article 10 has been amended to reflect that CAN will work towards being multilingual, first by promoting the use of French, Arabic, and Portuguese. Under Article 11, and then also the promotion of sign language has been included, apart from adding the use of official use of French, Arabic, and Portuguese. So sign language is also added there. Article 11, the management of CAN, the section on the management of CAN reflects that CAN no longer has an executive director, but hopes to appoint a coordinator to work with its existing administration and finance officer. And now under Article 12. Article 12 removes, that's a proposal, removal of the loans, loans as a source of funds. We heard the challenges of the loans. Loans as a source of funds, and adds profits from conferences. Profits, some people may use the word surplus sometimes in this kind of narrative. So profits or surplus from conferences, as CAN wants to work on its sustainability to reduce reliance on donors or loans. So, proposed terms of reference and selection process for a new CAN International Advisory Board. One advisory board member will be selected for each of the 5 regions of Africa, namely North, South, East, West, and Central. The selection of the members will be made based on the following criteria. This is the criteria. To support the development and coordination of CBR, CBID activities in their region, including 1. Working with organizations and networks in their regions to encourage and support them to share relevant information and data with CBR Africa Network. Number 2, supporting CAN to develop its membership. 3, working with CAN to promote and support the development of CBR CBID networks in their region. 4, attending quarterly CAN International Advisory Board meetings, online and CAN conferences. Application process. Members will be selected through a call for applications which will provide the terms of reference for members and the application form and process. The closing date for applications will be Friday, 22nd November in the year 2024 to ensure the selection process can be completed before the end of the year 2024. In addition to the regional advisory board members, the selection committee will appoint a further 4 members of the International Advisory Board. Those 4 include a CAN treasurer from Uganda, recommended by the International Advisory Board and founders of CAN. 3 general positions from any area, one of which will be a long-serving member of CAN for continuity, and 1 member of an umbrella OPD in Africa. OPD stands for Organizations of Persons with Disabilities. The first meeting of the 9 International Advisory Board members will elect a chairperson and a deputy chairperson. We continue with the criteria. Belong to, that is for members of the International Advisory Board. Belong to you must be belonging to an organizational network in the field of disability, CBR, CBID. Be a registered and active member of CBR Africa Network. Be able to demonstrate work experience in the field of disability, CBR and CBID. Provide a letter of support from their organization or relevant body. Submit an application form and motivational letter to the selection committee. Willing to serve CAN on voluntary basis for at least a 4-year term. Accept the job description and terms. You've heard us talk about the selection committee, and this is proposed to be the composition. 1, representative of the founder members of CAN. That is one person sitting on this committee should be a representative of the founder members of CAN. 1 existing CAN board member, 1 previous CAN chairperson, 1 representative from the umbrella OPD in Uganda, Nudibu, 1 CAN current donor representative. We end here. Dr. Ngano?
Thank you very much. So for the older members, for the members who have been through these elections, you remember we'll separate, go into our groups. A few people campaign, and we come back with a person and a name, and that evening the EC, the Executive Committee, is formed. So that is the major change in the Constitution. We want these people to apply, and they must fit a certain criteria, and they must accept a job description of sorts. A job description, and chiefly they have to be volunteers. And this will be regional representation from the 5 regions of Africa. Then we'll have the 3 additions, of whom one is a treasurer from Uganda. So that is the main difference. It's a critical difference that we have made. But I also have seen some NGOs go in that direction. I think they were also maybe disappointed with the way things were working out. TPO in Uganda has also gone that direction. They put an advert out for people to apply to be board members. So, with that presentation, I wanted to ask, do you have comments? Do you have additions? Or do we move and adopt this new constitution? This new constitution did not just come from the 1-hour discussion. It has taken us months. First of all, it has taken us years to realize that the old one is not working. But you say, well, maybe next time, maybe it will be better next time when somebody comes up by chance who will do differently. Yes, but it didn't work until we were almost at a standstill. But we believe this change is going to bring us the right people, and it is the way many development organizations are going. So can we have comments on this?
Right, thank you so much for the report, speech and the report, which is giving us the changes, proposed changes and the like. Maybe I think the low-hanging fruit is, first of all, recommendations to the team for thinking through the issues to try and come up with something maybe that will solve our challenges first. However, I've got also a few other things. First, the popularizing of the languages. I don't know why we have left Swahili, which is one of our own. So I would propose that we add Swahili and not just French and Portuguese, because it's one of our own, and as African Union we're trying to grow it. So let's add Swahili. Then 2, the changes to do with the removal of the original election of the executive board to regional. I think I've got maybe no challenges with regional representation. That's good, maybe, to ensure that every region is represented. But then I see that we've got those other appointments which are done by the executive board. In my view, other than the treasury, which is maybe should be appointed by the executive board for someone who is based here in Uganda to have the link to Kiambu University, I would have proposed that the General Assembly is allowed to elect the other 4 members, so that there is a hybrid. At least the General Assembly elects, so it's 3 actually. The other 3 members are elected by the General Assembly, and then the regions elect also, and when they go and sit, they now can choose their chairperson and we come up with the other positions. I think the General Assembly must still, despite the voting in the regions, it must still have some authority in terms of the strength of democratization to elect at least 3 members who are the anchor or the trustees of that board, elected directly by the General Assembly. I think that's my proposal.
Okay. Thank you very much, but just a correction in case others have not understood it clearly. The 5 regional representatives, an advert goes out and people apply. And there's a panel of four people. There's a selection panel which selects the regional representative. So it's not the General Assembly. Because we are electing through the General Assembly, and the countries did not know, let me say, even across countries, we did not know the people who were standing. But because they spoke well in the region, we elected them in. So there's a selection, there's a panel that will help select, send out the advert, and everybody applies who wants to be on the International Advisory Committee, and then the selection is done by the panel for the 5.
I do appreciate that. I find that maybe the process might become too complicated for a simplified organization or a network. And I'd like to call for a more simplified process than the one where people have to apply and we have to have that select committee from, is it each region? Each region to have a select committee?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we'll be complicating it quite a lot in my view.
No, the select committee is one.
Okay.
The select committee, the panel is one.
Yeah, so basically what we have done is to remove the powers of election from the General Assembly to give it to a select committee.
Yes, that's what is happening.
Yeah, which also brings a complication in terms of effective representation. So if we are to get effective representation, I still have a serious challenge to have a committee to be the one to select the network leaders. I think we still need an opportunity as AGM, as the General Assembly, to be able to elect our leaders. We still need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody have something to say about that? Maybe we will have a hybrid of both proposals.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I think we joined together in South Africa. This is where I was elected as a board member, and the board have never been effective. Never. We have elected. Those elections are from regions. We go by region. I was elected by the Francophone. We were only 8 Francophone out of 262. Out of 268, we were only 8 Francophone. So my colleague Francophone decided to support me. So all the elections that come after that was also did by randomly. This was not a proper election. Randomly, the region sit and they choose someone to represent them on the can. And this also was a little bit, I have some testimony from Christine. When I came in on, if you remember, when I applied to be a board member, I said I will change the organization because most of the members was from East. I said I will not come Francophone. I remember my speech because I talked in French even, and I said I will make this organization to be a little bit African organization. So this is how we, at the event when I was about leaving my position after my second term, we had the position by regions. All regions were represented. Before that, it was not like that. What I have to add was that seeing what happened from 2007 to now, this election did not produce the effect we are looking for. Even not only coming in, but even online meetings failed. So we are just proposing this based on the EC recommendation, because EC recommended that, and then there's a small group, Nabi, myself, I support as a solution person, and then some people from Uganda will develop a QR to propose this way of forward who can. So if, of course, the assembly have the power to not accept it, but we see that this is a new thing we can also try, because since the network was established, it doesn't work properly. Because even before I became the chair, the former chair resigned from South Africa. She resigned without even giving us why she resigned. And I have to talk about like now chairs took over from Mozanda. Mozanda resigned because he's retired. He said, I'm not going to take, I'm tired of this. So maybe let's try to the QR, people have some kind of accountability through the QR. This is what we think. Because if you apply, you will apply based on the QR. And then you can try it. You're not forcing, you're just trying to see. Because we need, as Carol said, Gun is really down. Gun is down. Don't forget that gun is down. That kind of agreement. So we need also to think of change. If in China maybe it's not going to work. It's like, especially if we are wrongly having someone who can speak very well here, but he's not doing active. When you go back, you don't really look at his email from Ghana. So we have to be careful. And like just final word, I personally applied for the IDD board member, IDD international. I just applied and still waiting for the outcome. So this is how people are, because there's a commitment needed from people. But in this room, people can commit, but they not fulfill the commitment. So through the GR, I think they can accept. If they didn't accept, I think the board can call them, send them back the GR. But now we are not doing it. People are just simply, I'm talking very well, and then they're selected. So think about it. This is your power. You have a power. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Chair, for that. I'm okay with like I mentioned, with the regional election by virtue of people applying. We can go ahead with that one. I think I have no qualms, but I'm advocating for at least 3 members of that 9-person board to be elected by this General Assembly, so that those become our trustees direct from here. As we leave, we know that these are people we have to put to ensure that they are part and parcel of whatever board will be there, and hopefully we can be checking on them. Because those ones, yes, they will apply by letters and the like, but we may not be checking on them, those ones who apply, who you select. Yeah. So I still stand for the 3. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you, moderator. I'm Kabale Kanan from Support Disability Uganda. I appreciate the background of the amendments being proposed. Mrs. Mahoro has ably presented, but as a belief of democracy and inclusion, I do suggest that yes, we can still go with applications, because before this conference or General Assembly, we have time. My suggestion is this can make the application to the board, and you'll see the screen, and maybe get 3 people from each region that can be presented with their CVs to us, such that when the General Assembly sits, we are able to select from the 3 those ones which have been selected by you. But it's suicidal to take away the powers of an assembly to elect its board. I suggest And Madam Maros every says that people always own what they have contributed to. So I think it's to be more proper if that process is done or applied and the names are presented, and I feel to the General Assembly to choose one of those. Thank you so much.
That would be this General Assembly.
No, I mean the coming General Assemblies. Because we're making amendments, this one may be a bit hard for this one. But going forward, I think it's better. For example, 6 months prior to the General Assembly, due process is done, the application, the selection, and names are voted and presented during the assembly, so that people select from those ones which have been presented.
This is of the 3 or of the 9?
Of the 9. Yes.
Of the 9?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. There's a hand behind there. And then the next one here.
2 questions or 2 thoughts. For the 9 positions that you're referring to, how can we be assured there's gender balance in that? If there is a consideration for that, I didn't see that, so forgive me if it was there. And my second suggestion with what I'm hearing is there a possibility to give a spot to a youth or a young adult in the advisory committee? And if not, can we make a 10 spot just for that? The reason why I'm saying that is our youth and our young adult population are very innovative. They know what's trending, they know the patterns, they know how to reach audiences that we cannot reach. They are experts on social media that us old timers are not. So thank you so much.
The lady is this.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
no.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, who has the mic?
Kawamuzi Joel. I'm behind this way. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. There was one on where they say the member should be from an umbrella organization. I would request that let it be an OPD, not a member organization. Why? It will help all of us persons with disability to participate and also to feel at CAN. Thank you so much.
Can you explain the last bit again? You prefer that the slot is given to an OPD?
No.
Not a member?
I'm saying, when I was reading, I saw a member who can be on the board should be from an umbrella organization. For example, for the case of Uganda, NUDIPU. And now when you look at in Uganda, there are so many brilliant members from all over other than NUDIPU. So if we say only NUDIPU for the case of Uganda or an umbrella organization, we shall be limiting CAN to grow using the available brilliant ideas. So let it be open so long as someone has a disability. Then the other one, there should be a youth. I think, Mama, you understand this. It will be society as Kabale has said, to leave us the young people behind. Thank you so much.
There was a lady in the white t-shirt.
I'm Honorable Buzadija from Eastern region, all along from Uganda, Southern region. For me, my point is that we should elect members from here. Since we are all here, at least we pick the 3 from here right now. And while we are electing, let us consider someone who has a heart of CAN, not a matter of just electing someone for his physical appearance when he was CAN with CAN in heart. And even another issue, it was about my brother Joel. I understand we people with disability, we stand in one umbrella of NUDIPU. NUDIPU is our motherland. So we should pick someone from NUDIPU because it is the what? our mother. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Those that your ideas are all different. You're going to leave here at midnight.
Sorry, Chair.
Let her just give her idea.
Yeah, just a moment.
Not this procedure.
Just a proposal is either seconded or not seconded, and it either falls or it progresses. So we need to
I
have.
was going to do that, but I was gathering ideas.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So
I'm
if we
going to
can.
put a stop to it because I have them written down here, the proposals.
Yeah, because now we've got a view here, a view here, a view there, a view there. So we'll end up with 10 views. Yeah.
Okay, to start with, I did see the issue of time limits and Derek Mtawazi from KOSU. It's not clear how many times the membership will be the same so that we avoid repetitive people and burnout from the board members. Secondly, the issue of they have to be active. You know, when someone becomes very active, other people who want to be active did that because it was one of the criteria that for you to be a board member, you have to be active. How do you define active? Have I attended this number of conferences? Have I published? Have I attended trainings? Being active is different. Maybe if I came here and ushered, I would be very active, but is that what you're looking at? So the criteria of active needs to be clear. The term limits need to be very clear. And I would like to say the voting needs to come in and let, as much as possible, have a change in the people on the board so that new ideas keep coming in, people moving out, mentoring, so that we have more people active in this, in CAN, opposed to having the same faces, doing the same things, not reading emails, like that. Thank you.
The term of office has remained the same. It is a 4-year term, and after the 4 years, you can go off, but if you are voted in again, you can have a second term. So it depended on the General Assembly voting you back in again. Otherwise, the term is 4 years. So for example, Carol has just completed her second term as treasurer.
Okay. I would like to move from governance to the coordinator. I think there was a suggestion that the network, CAN moves from an executive director to a coordinator. I don't know what prompted that, because if we are looking at CAN as an organization, I think we need to move away from someone who is not paid, someone who is not working on a voluntary basis, because this is a person that will make CAN operate in terms of bringing in resources, being supported by the governance team on the other hand. So yeah, I wanted to know really what prompted that, because organizations are led again at that level by a director. And the director will be given again responsibilities to bring results. Otherwise, then no need for the person that operating without results that needs to be left there. But a paid director with clear terms of reference. Thank you.
And that's what we had before, a paid director with clear terms of reference. But we thought CAN is, as a secretariat, CAN is small and doesn't need to be big. Because now we have internet, we have Facebook, we have all sorts of means of meeting and reaching and being together. So that's why we thought that a coordinator is more of the person we need to coordinate what is going on across the planet and also especially across Africa. That was the reason we stepped it lower from an executive director who has expectations, who has perhaps a huge salary, and it didn't work out when we had the executive director. Our very first executive director was a volunteer. the next one was paid. But people, those who are effective and really got us started off were coordinators. So I'm going to put these options to the vote. Is that okay? Yes. Those who spent days, hours, and months doing this. Is there one last opinion? I heard somebody say so.
Yes, it's here. I'm Lamin Dure. I'm hearing what has been discussed and floated around. Gives me an impression that there is a tension between what the dynamics of the assessment that have led to the situation that we have found ourselves in is not clear and specific. For instance, is the problem because of the structure or the people who occupy the structure, or the way the structure is brought into being? Because if you put new wine in all bottles, that does not change the quality of the wine. So I guess the problem lies with the fact that people are looking at what they are being asked to do against what they in reality are able to do. Voluntarism is an affordable commodity. There comes a time when you're faced with a challenge between focusing on the voluntary or focusing on the fundamentally livelihood challenges we have. So how do we address that tension? And I'm saying also, is there a provision in the revision of the Constitution that would enable us to act earlier than the 4 years for us to diagnose problems and take action? Because a lot of damage can be done in 1 year, much more 4 years to wait for changes to be effected. Thank you.
Okay, let me start with the last one. There's no provision for a change within the 4 years. And also no provision for monitoring of the executive committee or now the international advisory board. Now that tension you talked about between voluntarism and whether to what extent can you volunteer, this is where we want people to commit, having known what is ahead of them. I think many people commit thinking that it is maybe trips here, a workshop here, I don't know, something not so difficult. But when you are on the board of a young, vibrant organization with little funding, there's work, it is hard work. So we'd like the new board members to come on knowing that, and having known that, to apply, and having applied, to be selected, so that when they come on, they actually come on ready. A number of organizations are moving towards that. So I have some options here. Can I just close this?
I was not happy with Carol, what all Carol said, because too much. But when you see this banner, you can think that Carol don't have any yellow. Okay? So if those people are not motivated, they think that they will be motivated, they are not going to be motivated. I personally came because of CDM providing me fund to come. Otherwise I don't come. You understand? So you have to understand that. So this is why we say you belong to an organization or a network. Because if you are as a person, if you are not getting tickets, you are not going to be here. So let us think very well. Without Caro engagement, this conference will not take place. I am sure, because I know what it is. Even for 2015, we hardly work to get the conference in Kenya happen. So, but you will decide. It's good to decide because democracy is good. I also like democracy. But think very well what you are deciding. Because from here, those who are going to be elected, they have to look how they can get can survive. They have to be ready. Because don't think about theory, think about practice. Okay, thank you very much.
Ticket accommodation, but because of CAM, I went. So there is that commitment which has to happen, which I hope we can solicit for, so that people who have CAN at heart are the ones we pick. There was one contribution this side, and that's the final one. We have to move on.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. My name is Henry Samba. I work with Uganda Red Cross Society. I wanted to make my submission regarding the issue at hand we've been discussing, for giving us the opportunity as the General Assembly to elect board members. For me, I think it is the rest of the members, let us embrace the direction which the board is taking. It is for our own good. We've seen this out of experience. We gather like this. It is the first time we are meeting many of us, and out of excitement, we shall choose someone who is too vocal, but in reality they disappear. We all have board members in your organizations, but in the first month after the election, they are very active. But look out for them. Probably maybe when the term is for 5 years, at the end of the 5 years, they are nowhere to be seen. That is the bitter truth. We should accept it. For me, I would advise, let us first give it a try, what the board is proposing. Thank you so much.
Nina is ready.
Thank you very much. All said and done. I would like to understand a bit better 3 things. One, are you able to show us the structure of CAN? An organogram, the structure of CAN, for us to be able to understand our leaders, how are they going to operate with terms of reference. Is there such a thing? Number 2, when you say members, I didn't hear any explanation apart from what you said, that the type of membership, this and this and this, is being proposed that it's removed. So what do you mean? And are there membership cards for me to identify myself? I'm a member of CAN. How do I identify myself as a member? Number 3, this membership, I suppose, is what gives you the mandate to vote. So, what will make me know that I'm eligible to vote? If there's no identification of someone being a member, may you explain a bit more on those 3 things? I'm not clear. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Aisha, I don't know, do you have a diagram of the previous arrangement? The terms of reference are there. So, like I said before, hello? Can I respond to this one first?
One of the founding members and someone who has worked closely on the structure, the changes and things like that with other stakeholders. First of all, I said earlier that according to the Constitution of CAN, which we are amending now, by virtue of your attending the CAN conference, you become a member of CAN. and you can participate in the General Assembly, because we only hold the General Assemblies during the conference. So your being here today entitles you to participate in the General Assembly of CAN, because you have registered and are participating in this conference. Whether you come back next time for the next conference, that's a different matter. But today you are a member of CAN. And once you have entered into the attendance register of this conference, the Secretariat of CAN is going to transfer that information into the CAN directory, and so your contacts that you have provided in this conference will be used to reach to you by Secretariat of CAN. And the issue of the CAN has a directory of members, and there's a contact list, and there's a lot of information they share rather. So that doesn't have to worry you. Two, the Constitution we are amending, the supreme, according to the structure, the supreme organ of that of the assembly is, of the organization is the assembly. And we are sitting here in that capacity. The structure is going to change because of the changes we are bringing today. Once we amend those parts of the Constitution that are being amended, then the old structure is going to change. I don't know, Alice, whether I have helped you to answer.
It seems to favor that we go by the umbrella organization where we need a DPO on the panel, or a DPO from Africa as one of the extra three, which we said will be elected. Then the other option is that all 9 members of the board are elected. All members of the advisory committee are elected. That is another option. I think these are the options we have here. Of course, the slot for the youth is not an option for regarding it. Can you raise your hands? Those who want a slot for the youth? A slot for the youth?
Just keep your hands up. No, not 2 hands, please. Only 1 hand.
But they already seem to be the majority. Yes. Okay. I think we can leave it.
I think it's unanimous. Eh?
Yes, we can say that unanimous. We have a slot among the 9, among the 3, I think, or the 9. We have a slot for the youth. The next issue is whether to have all 9 elected by the General Assembly, or we have 5 selected and 3 elected. So we have 5 representing the 5 regions of Africa, and then the 3 are elected in the General Assembly. Or you can have all the 9 elected. So let's start with the first proposal. Who is for having the 5 as proposed in the new constitution, in the updated constitution, that 5 are elected from the regions and 3 are elected? The 9th is from Uganda, isn't it? The treasurer. The option is what we are voting on now. We have 2 situations. 5 people are selected That is an advert goes out, they apply, they go through a vigorous selection process, and they are appointed on the International Advisory Board representing the 5 regions of Africa, plus 3 others who are elected. And with these who are elected, there are 2 options we have. 5 people selected, and well, 3 are elected. Now the selected are the ones who respond to an advert, and then they go through the panel, selects them, and they are appointed to the board with their terms of reference and are monitored. Then we have the 3 who are elected by the General Assembly, that makes 8, and the 9th is elected by Ugandans to be a treasurer, as it has been before, because every year the treasurer has been coming from Uganda. So that is option 1. The second one is all 9 are elected, as it was before.
First one.
So we go for the first one.
Yes.
So is the first one unanimous?
Yes.
This side? Say yes! Say no! Say yes! We are using the parliamentary method. Say yes this side.
Yes!
All right.
So we are going to have this method of identifying the International Advisory Board. It has changed from being an executive committee to International Advisory Board of 5 people who are selected and 3 people who are elected by the General Assembly. Of these 3 people, 1 is a youth. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. So we're going to have 5 people selected, 3 people elected. Of the 3, 1 will be a youth, and 1 will be a member from Organization of Persons with Disabilities. Of the 3. So that we want the 3rd to be a woman. Okay. For other people, not a woman. Yes. Yes, but you know, all these are coming from everyone. All these are coming from everyone. All right, okay. Shall we go the 3? 1 is youth, 1 is from an Organization of Persons with Disabilities, and 1 is just a general member of the Assembly. Now, how do we elect these 3? Because this one we can do right away, but for the 5, the panel is going to push out an advert on the CAN website and encourage people to apply by end of November, I think it is. There's going to be a process. Yes, you are suggesting how to elect the 3. That's where we are now.
Madam Chair, I was actually going to suggest that you use a method of proportionality, right? Either looking at 40-40-20, like 40 women, 40% women, 40% men, and 20% maybe youth, or maybe 30-30, and also looking at persons with from OPDs. So I think rather looking at it from a proportionality representation as opposed to just numbers, to make sure that we include the member of the OPD, that we include youth, and also gender balance.
That would be a bit difficult because you see, the election of the advisory board is at 2 stages. We have the we have the selection process where we can actually tell them, if we want to tell them that at least 2 should be women and 3 should be men, we can define that there, or we just leave it and they do it by the capacity of the people. Because if then we have the other side where we are electing 3 today, so it's going to be difficult to do proportions when there are 2 separate ways of identifying the advisory board. You have a solution to electing the 3?
Yes, Chair. What I wanted to say is whilst with the categorization which we have agreed, for example, we have already agreed for the youth. So we say youth propositions. So we get propositions for the youth and we elect 1 from the youth. When we get the propositions for the OPDs and we elect 1 from the OPDs who will be proposed. And we have 1 general visit to the membership for the 3rd one, and we get propositions and we elect that. So we have 3 slots, 1 youth, 1 OPDs, 1 general membership, and people can propose now and then we elect.
Okay. Should we do that? Because we first need to have it written, I think, so that we approve it as a general assembly, because this is something new.
Since it's my proposal, it can just be seconded, and if it's seconded, then we can go ahead to implement it.
It is written as something in the Constitution.
Before writing it has to be seconded.
We need to feel that since everyone is here, the youths are here, and whatever, let them write those ones interested, let them write their names, they bring there, then we shall pick 1 who will go through. Because we don't know who is better, who is what. Because the figures you see, it stands with the cash. That one who will manage to transport herself, to go to London, to go anywhere, somewhere, for can. So they should write their name, those ones interested, then we pick.
Because that proposal now we cannot write it in the Constitution. You see the process we use now, we are going to approve as a General Assembly, and then it has to go in the Constitution. I'm tending to go with his idea that we elect the youth now, that people stand, people propose themselves, or somebody proposes a person, maybe 3 people, since we have 3 posts, and then we vote.
There's someone behind
They
you.
tell us what they can do, where they work, like how we have always done it.
Yes.
Okay, you are the very last one, then we go on.
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm Feston from DRC. I would like just to mention this issue related to youth. I vote for youth to be part. But we have to be, when it's a matter of constitution, we have to be specific. I know that we are African, but different countries, they define youth differently. What are the person we are considering as a youth? From which age, in order to be elected as a youth member? That's my question. The second, it's just an observation. I would like just to know maybe some elements, I missed some elements. I think we are confusing 2 things. We are voting, we are electing the constitution, and it's that constitution which normally provides on how election should be done. We are proposing on how election should be done, but I think first we should vote, elect the constitution. We know that it has been validated by the General Assembly, and those ideas have been included in the constitution. Secondly, I don't know if everyone who is giving idea is he allowed to give that proposal as a member. That's it's a question I had on my proposal of considering who is a youth when we consider to be included in the board. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. What we are trying to do here is actually to pass the new articles of the resurrection, of the election, how we are going to elect. So it's good you have brought up the issue of age. Our different countries have different ages. I was suggesting 18 to 35, as Uganda has it. Yes. Some countries have 15, it's too young. Somebody 15 years, I think, has not seen the world, has not. Can we start from 18 to 35?
Yes.
Okay, so that one has been accepted. And we are going to propose, someone proposes, we are going to have 3.
Before we do the election.
Exactly. That's
Now, on what ground are we going to elect before the amendment is approved?
Victor, this is what we are doing. We are writing the articles out. Right now they're in my handwriting.
So we
are writing them out. When they are approved, also we have two people writing. He's writing we have 2 people writing.
Yeah, once we approve the amendments, then we can go and do the election.
So now,
during those presentations, there are points we felt so attached to, so much that they should form the resolutions of the 7th CBR CBID Africa Conference. We have rapporteurs who are picking up this, but should you suspect that your resolution, something that you feel very passionate about, has not been picked or may not be picked, please reach out to Monsieur Sumana Zamo over there. He will pick it up and include it in. Immediately after lunch, we intend to go through these resolutions to see how complete they are and if they reflect the thoughts, the wishes, and events of the 7th CBR CBID Africa Conference. Secondly, or thirdly for that matter, we have, yesterday we had the AGM. Unfortunately, a very important agenda was not concluded. Elections. We want to finalize the elections today. Also highlighted for after lunch, just before the closing ceremony. So I want to ask you to quickly show interest, lobby us, and we trust you with our votes and the leadership going forward. We'll begin our session shortly, but allow me to make a little consultation with the Secretariat, and I'll be back. This is a very huge thing that is so central to our theme for this year's conference. And to lead us in this discussion, this panel, I'll have my brother, Benson Kiptu, who was the coordinator for the 5th CBR conference that was held in Kenya, Nairobi. So he is a man who is with a wealth of experience, with a lot of passion for this movement, and what a better way to kick off the morning. Ndugu Kiptu, karibu.
I was on yesterday. It was good, isn't it? Thank you, thank you. I will be your moderator for the panel discussion on education and training for persons with disabilities, which is a very key component in our theme of this year's 7th year conference. And of course, to kick off, I will just briefly share the highlights that we'll be looking at. Inclusive education systems across the globe. Of course, vocational training for youth with disabilities. Technology and inclusive education. Barriers on higher education. Access to higher education by persons with disabilities. And lastly, training educators for inclusive classrooms. And to start with us, I will call upon Caroline Maholo to come forward as our guest first panelist. Please, hand of clap, please. We must start from Isabel. Thank you, welcome, welcome. Welcome, please. Our next guest will be Ms. Sarah Bugosi from Uganda, Ministry of Education. Thank you. I would clap when she comes in, please. Thank you very much. We have our next panelist, Feston Kiruhara from DRC Congo. Please welcome on board. Welcome. A good clap, please, for him. Thank you. And the last, but not least, our panelist will be my colleague Solomon Hala, who is an education specialist from Kenya, who will also give us some insights about inclusive education. Thank you very much. That clap is not enough. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you and welcome our panelists. Feel honored to be here, please. And to start with, I will just an intro to the panel discussion. I will request our panelists, starting with on my first right, Ms. Sarah Bugosi, to just introduce herself and the perspective about inclusive education, and probably what you.
And thank you, the participants in this room. My name is Sarah Bugosi. I work with the Ministry of Education and Sports as the Commissioner for Special Needs and Inclusive Education. I'm here today standing in for my Director, Basic Education for Uganda. He is the one who was supposed to be part of this team here, but due to being unwell, he hasn't been able to be with us. Now, on the perspective of inclusive education systems, I want to say in Uganda, we have tried our level best, though we are not yet there, to see that we develop both the infrastructure and the policies. And you know, it's the policies that give us the guiding principles on what we are supposed to do. In Uganda, we are signatory to all the global policies or global undertakings, and it's from those global undertakings that we have domesticated a number of policies, and those have been our guiding principles. In the area of inclusive education, we have, first of all, we follow the SDG 4, where we would want to leave anyone behind, and because of that, we would want, or we're in the process of making the National Inclusive Education Policy. But before this is approved, we have other policies that have been guiding us, like the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, where all children are supposed to access education, and it is government's responsibility to see that all the infrastructure is put in place. Besides that, we have the universal primary education that started so many years ago, And in the universal primary education, at first we were talking about 4 children per family, and among the 4, a child with a disability was supposed to be a priority. But along the way, the universal primary education is for everyone. Even if you have 50 children as one father, all these children are free to access the free primary education. And the same goes to USC, Universal Secondary Education. So in this, under the National Inclusive Education Policy, which we are still pushing for, and also when we use the UPE and the USE policies, for learners with special needs or learners with disabilities to access school, we are operating 3 types of schools. We have the inclusive schools, we have the integrated schools, and then the special schools. I know many of you in this room may be wondering why we still have special schools, yet this is an area that many people are saying they shouldn't exist. But given the circumstances under which we operate in Uganda, being a third world country and many other factors, if we only go in for inclusive education, it means it will be very difficult for learners who have severe disabilities to access school. Because most of our special schools are boarding schools where parents cannot afford to be taking these children on a daily basis to school. And even the nearest school, which would be the inclusive school, does not have that teacher who has the specialized pedagogy methodologies to support this learner. The near school that is not accessible, and so many other factors. So we said as a government, let us continue with a special school, but along the way we continue making the integrated and the inclusive schools better. Then the last one that I would want to talk about, for us to support inclusive education, Uganda National Examination Board, this is our national body of examinations, comes in to support learners during examinations. They support them in very many different ways. They bring in personnel to support them to do the examinations, but also give them extra work and many other areas of support. So we have tried as a government to see that really inclusive education is our #1 priority, and our learners go to school. Thank you.
Thank you. A big clap for her, please. Thank you very much, Sarah, for giving us the insights about education in Uganda, and more so the policies that inspire education for learners with disabilities. Again, we go to Caroline to share with us your perspectives, and again on issues to do with barriers to accessing higher education.
Thank you very much. I'm standing in for my Vice Chancellor, who is unable to attend due to other competing priorities. I have been in Chambo University for the past 20 years. And over that period, we as an institution have trained a number of teachers, have worked with various organizations, and have contributed to various policies to enhance access to education for persons with disabilities. I have also had an opportunity to interact with the various levels of learning, from early childhood development to institutions of higher learning and tertiary institutions. And based on that, we recognize the fact that persons with disabilities have got various challenges, and they have various needs, which are sometimes not known to the various providers of education services at the different levels. Although we have policies in Uganda, for instance, many of these policies are not known to many people at the grassroots. And in some cases, even when they know the policies, they are constrained, either by skills or inadequate resources. And at the end of the day, we remain with one main challenge. exclusion of persons with disabilities as far as education and training is concerned. In some cases, when education is provided, but appropriate provisions are not made to ensure that they effectively access the education, considering their various disability needs, they remain excluded. So much as we know what we ought to do, much as we have the policies that are supposed to ensure that we do what we ought to do, as various stakeholders in our various entities, it's important that we try to look at the whole package of ensuring that these people benefit as much as possible to realize their full potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Caroline. I could clap this. Thank you for that. Education is a game changer. And of course, persons with disabilities accessing education is a game changer to their lives. Of course, our next panelist, first will share with us briefly about policy and advocacy coordinator in DRC, Congo. And of course, he will share with us the highlights about inclusive education, the policy space, and also maybe talk briefly about vocational trainings. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this space. First on, as the moderator said, I'm representing our minister delegate to disability, who didn't be able to be present. For sure, in DRC, things are the same, policies are there, but barriers in terms of implementation are still high. From our constitution, there is a prohibition of discrimination. We have ratified the UNCRPD. We have adopted a law protecting persons with disability, with highlighting some rights related to education. Actually, in DRC, the primary education is free, but we can see how many children we attend those primary schools, even if it's free. It's not really easy to them to attend those schools. Why this? It's because of lack of trained teachers. I have seen in the program that we are implementing in Eastern and South Kivu and North Kivu, the Tunafasi, we all have a place. It's a CBR program. I have seen that when we train teachers on inclusive education, it becomes a burden. They will say, we have already duties to do. We have many things to do as a teachers with a sufficient salary that we know all of us. When you add other issues related to inclusive, they consider as a burden to them, which is a big barrier we still fighting in our country. We have, as we are talking about professional training, we have the Ministry of Professional and Vocational Training, which is helping us to install and to support the inclusive education in training. I do not have a clear statistics on countrywide, but I will give you some example in where we are working, where we are implementing the Tunafasi program, which is a CBR program. We have been able to work with the ministry, which is centralized at the municipality at provincial level. The ministry, we support the ministry to make inclusive training and vocation centers. Actually, we are supporting 4 training centers where youth with disability are attending school. Many of them, they didn't be able to finalize their primary school, but they can so attend the training school. In 4 years, we have been able to support 159. The main challenge in the training, vocation training, is the well-trained trainers or teachers and the lack of accessibility. I will give you a small example. A young who was attending the training school, but he dropped out because only of the issue of toilet, which is not inclusive. From that, through the program, we have been able to fundraise some money, and we made the school, the training center, accessible. This is to show you how it's a big issue, but we thank the ministry which is supporting us in order to pass the exam. After the training, they have to do an exam, a national exam, and they do support them with time, with adapted material in order to pass the exam. Briefly, that's what I can say. Many who benefit, person who benefits the training, they are more physical or having physical disability. We found that those with mental, with visual impairment, it's really still a big issue, a big barrier for us. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Good clap for Festus. Thank you very much, Festus, for the insights. Quite good experience, and of course we are learning. Allow me to go to my last panelist, who is also a colleague in Kenya, Mr. Solomon Puhala, who is an education specialist, and again has been in the sector for quite a while, and I'm sure that you may want to share with us insights about technology and inclusive education, and positive the perspectives of the strategy for learning in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Solomon Buhala. I'm from Kenya, and I'm happy to share with you about the education system as regards, of course, inclusive education in Kenya. I'm a bit fortunate because I've grown up in education in Kenya. I have had an opportunity to serve at different levels. I started working with the learners with vision impairment in 1987. And I even know UNICEF in Uganda was begun after KISE in Kenya. And I have been part of that history. So I want to say that we have had an evolving system of education. Even currently, we are having a new system that Kenya is working on. And I want to say that also as a country we have gone through different stages, starting of course the common special schools. Then we had the integrated programs, where I was also fortunate to coordinate a national program, Kenya Integrated Education Program, that was there for a while. And now I want to say that the policies in the country have given an opportunity for inclusive education to at least evolve and continue. And there is a commitment from the ministry and all its agencies to support inclusive education. This one is even included in the current CBC curriculum, the competence-based curriculum that we are now in the 3rd year, and also in team-led education, that is technical and vocational education. Inclusive education is encouraged. I'm also fortunate to work in one of the technical institutions for the blind in Kenya. And I want to say that what is now happening, all the stakeholders in education in Kenya, they are always free to take the policies of the government and to realize them. And I'm also fortunate to be funded by CBM. I'm running a project we call Vision support project that we are also running activities on inclusive education in 7 of our counties. Kenya has 47 counties, so this project is also running in 7 counties where we are reducing barriers and we are making inclusive education to be a reality. Remember, education as in the very education, which was very common, the learner had a very big problem. Now we have embarked on reducing barriers to ensure the learner can just walk to the next school and attend. We are also putting a lot of pressure to the government and the Teacher Service Commission that of course recruits and employs teachers to at least post teachers who are trained in special needs. And we are also coming up with tailor-made trainings to impact on teachers who are not specially trained so that they can work with learners with disabilities. We are working around the clock in the country, and I want to say that where we are, there is commitment to apportioning money or giving money to institutions. Of course, as governments, the budgets are never enough. So any other person as a stakeholder has been allowed to participate in at least realizing what the government has put in its policies. Kenya as a country has of course ratified most of the policies and commitments, and where we are now, if you visit Kenya, you will find learners with disabilities, learners who have different varied disabilities. They are also learning in regular schools, both private and also, of course, public. So we are on course, and we are hopeful that going forward, we shall at least achieve that aspect of having an inclusive education institution just to the next door of every learner in the next maybe 5 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Solomon. I think that's quite insight. Thank you for taking us through the inclusive education space in Kenya and of course ratification of policies. Allow me to take you back to Festus briefly. Maybe anybody else from the panel who can be able to share with us. There is this agitated process of looking at the training skills or the vocational skills and the market. How do we balance the skills within the institutions, both in higher learning, vocational training, and also the demands in the market? Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is the second problematic. We have 2 phases normally in this in order to respond to access to employment to persons with disability. Firstly, we were talking about disability, more youth with disability attend them. I was talking about in 4 years where we supported, the program supported 159 youth, young people with disability to attend training. But the second issue is to check how many attend, go to the work, how many go to the job, how many are able to produce income in order to be economically independent. This is another big issue. We know that first we have a high level of population, no employed population, and when it comes to people with disability, it's become higher than other people without disability. So, for example, the 150, let us just use this example, 159, we realize that actually only 20% are employed or self-employed. So actually, the program we are trying to found a second strategy, a plan B, in order to give them, to regroup them, and to give them the real startup kits, which can help them to start the job. The other challenge we have is that there is unavailability of diverse training. You know, the person who are attending the training, they have to choose themselves. Many can by choosing a professional which you want to attend. But when you try to check on the market, you will not find any training center who is able to give that training. That's another issue. And you realize that the majority are doing the same thing, are being trained in the same thing, instead of having diversity in training they are attending. And this increase once again the accessibility, the access to the market. That is what I realized. Together we have to think twice and to say how can we use the CBR in order to create employment in a good manner for youth, for persons with disability, and especially to youth and women with disability. Thank you.
Thank you. Introduction from other panelists, yes.
Okay, let me also give some bit of perspective about Uganda. In the area of training in terms of skills, I want to really uphold the private partnership. The private partnership has also enabled us to have quite reasonable number of people with disabilities undertaking a lot of trainings. And on the side of government, we have a department of TVETOM, that is the area of technical education training. In this one, we have got now an affirmative action whereby at least 20% or 10% of the people who have applied the offers, among the offers given, 20% or 10% should be people with disabilities. And in this, I want to say this is now our third year. Quite a number of students have been trained, those who complete A-level, even those who complete O-level. They have been taken on, and the program provides reasonable accommodation, even provides the equipment they are supposed to use. And equally, where we have had partners also taking on trainings, some of these partners have also provided the equipment, the kits for the people whom they have trained to go with. I also want to add in the area of training that recently, government of Uganda through Ministry of Education and Sports launched the digital agenda. Under the digital agenda, we have quite a number of strategies that we have to undertake. And among the many, there is a specific area where we are working with the Ministry of ICT to see that people with disabilities take on the soft skills so that they can also work supporting industries and supporting many areas. Because when we take on the digital part of it, it may become simpler for those who cannot use a lot of energy in doing so many things. Then besides that, as in the area of employment, which we are still struggling with, I want to say the government of Uganda has introduced a number of programs. We had Emyoga, which is still going on. We have PDM, which is going on, and many other programs, even under Ministry of Gender. In this, we are encouraging all people to form groups and do a number of activities. In this one, I have one example in Tungamo, deaf people formed
a group after undertaking a training. They did carpentry. They have formed a group where they are doing a lot of furniture. And Dugamo as a district has taken it upon themselves that for any contracts of supplying furniture to schools, priority must first of all be given to that group to supply. If they are not able, is when they will go out and solicit for others. So we have this kind of programs. In our country, we only want to encourage people with disabilities to be in these groups so that they can be approached to be supported in very many different areas. Thank you.
Okay? It takes two to tango. As institutions, we train. And with the policies, barriers are meant to be broken. Barriers often pay less attention to is the aspect of attitude. In all our various entities, even without a disability, the sky ought to be the limit, but your attitude is a key determinant. I may give you all the training in the world, but I can't put you on the job. You may have an opportunity to access the job, but I can't make you do the job. So as we are thinking about empowering our persons with disabilities and even all other categories of individuals, we ought to touch the aspect of attitude, because that is very, very instrumental in preparing a person and helping them instigate into the world of work and be able to serve effectively and deliver. Many persons with disabilities often have challenges accessing mainstream employment, yes. But sometimes it could be attributed to the fact that you yourself think you need to get into the job simply, even when you have affirmative action. It's always important that you show us what you're made of. The few I have met in the various trainings, not only as Chamberlain University, I encourage them to exhibit. Because when you exhibit, you market yourself. Whether you have a disability or not, exhibit. Even when you have a very silly, insignificant opportunity, exhibit. And when you do that, chances are high that you will always be picked. And don't feel so comfortable, even when you're picked. Continue growing, continue exhibiting all you can, and continue working on improving your own potential as the only ticket to market you as a person with a disability. And it's important that all of us who are in this field of work try to invest a little bit in that. Unemployment is a key challenge in many of our countries. I told you I've been in that institution for 20 years. And some people think that we give them the knowledge and skills and they simply fail to get employment. Yes, I do my best. But I can't make you do the job. But the few who have tried, and some of them are in this room who have gone through our institution, they have felt it. They have measured up. They are growing.